Elevate your brand with Elevate TV, a premier media station in the country. We specialize in video production, live coverage, advertising and social media marketing. We do quality production for YouTube videos, podcasts and live events. Transform your vision into reality with creativity and precision. Call us today and elevate your story on 0705 872 237. Explore a world of knowledge at Elevation Bookshop. Dive into topics like marriage, money, and spiritual growth with our vast reading materials. But that's not all. We are thrilled to introduce new additions like stationeries, notebooks, modeling clay, dictionaries, pencils, kamusi, and more. And calling all students, gear up for success with our back-to-school items, providing you with everything you need to excel in every subject. At Elevation Bookshop, we're here to assist you in finding the perfect resources for your journey. Do you have specific preferences or looking for something special? Visit us at Kenya Cinema Plaza, mezzanine floor, or contact us on 0748 902 225. Elevation Bookshop. Enrich your life.
Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good evening, viewers, or is it morning where you are? It doesn't matter where you are, but good evening and welcome again to the GG Report. Today, I am your host, Karen GG, so I'm standing in for the official and substantive host of the GG Report. Tonight, we have a very wonderful topic to discuss today. And even before I go into that, I just want to welcome you all to share this page with your friends on all your social media handles so that then we can be together as we discuss this very important matter. We all know that the topic today is about, we are discussing about the recent Trump's foreign aid strategy. And we're asking ourselves, who are the winners, who are the losers? Suddenly, the recently re-elected United States president has drafted and has signed a new policy regarding the foreign aid policy, which has sent shockwaves among politicians, non-governmental development actors such as USAID, WHO, UNAIDS, etc. The executive orders issued from Washington have demanded an immediate cessation of foreign aid transfers affecting aid-funded programs. And it has created a lot of anxiety among development sector operators, African politicians, who are now confused about how to engage with Washington on this matter as a diplomatic relations, security and war against terrorism, among others. The big question we are asking ourselves tonight is, this big question is, how will Africa respond to Donald Trump's new foreign policy? Is Africa ready to finally liberate itself from dependence on American goodwill and dollars for survival? Tonight, I'm joined by none other but Mr. Leonard Khafafa, who is a public policy governance consultant and a columnist with the Standard newspaper. Mr. Khafafa usually has insightful opinion about these matters of policy and governance, and today I'll be asking him to, in a while, to introduce himself more elaborately so that you know who your guest is. Remember, the GG Report is a platform for big, bold, and honest conversation on all social, cultural, economic, political, legal, philosophical, and also theological themes. So tonight, we have Mr. Khafafa here with us, and I would want him to take time to greet the viewers and also then to introduce himself. Welcome, Mr. Khafafa.
Thank you very much, Karen.
Yeah.
Good evening, viewers. As you've heard, my name is Leonard Khafafa. I'm a public policy analyst. I'm a columnist with the Standard newspaper as well. I've been a columnist for 7 years now. I'm also a commentator on matters of aviation. But my bias is public policy and any other topical issue that arises for any other topical issue of the week or of the day that arises. Yes, that's who I am in a nutshell.
Wow, thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
Viewers, you can just look forward to this discussion tonight. I am sure that our guest tonight is loaded. And if you have any question regarding these emerging issues, please write on all the media platforms, Elevate TV, on YouTube, on Facebook. Just write, and we'll be able to answer them. I'm sure our guests will be more than willing to answer your questions. This matters of the newly re-elected U.S. president. I think that matter is good for us to discuss this because it has, I think it's being received in very, very different ways.
Correct.
So now we want to know in this discussion, where is all this going? Who is going to win over this? Who are the losers? And what does that mean for us? Here, especially in the third world countries.
Right.
What does it mean for Africa? What do this new policy mean for Kenya as a nation? What do then this policy mean even for the counties at the county level? And even for Wajiko? Yeah?
Right.
Who is just there at the bottom? What does this mean?
That's right.
Yeah, so tell us about this new policy, just in a nutshell, before we dive deep.
Yeah, I think it's important to know who Donald Trump is.
Yes.
Why he's there as a
Yes.
president
True.
of the U.S.
Yes.
Just some background so that we begin to understand where he's coming from.
True.
And where he's taking the America and the rest of the world with him.
Yeah.
Because as the saying goes,
Yeah.
when America sneezes,
Yeah.
the rest of the world catches a cold. So
True.
anything America does is very important. So Donald Trump was popularly elected
Yes.
by American people overwhelmingly.
Yes.
He had an overwhelming majority.
True.
And it spoke to the situation in America.
Yeah.
The Biden administration had outlived its usefulness, so to speak. I think a lot of the Biden administration, Democrats basically, have their set of values. Republicans have their set of values.
True.
And the values of the Democrats were at odds with the traditional values of the American people.
Okay.
Biden and his people, in fact, I told people earlier on when Biden was sworn in that he seemed to have made certain rights the centerpiece of his foreign policy. Rights like LGBTQ rights, you know, those had become the centerpiece of his policy.
Yes.
And wherever he went,
Yes.
he would attach them to aid. you'd attach those rights as a conditionality
Yeah.
for the disbursement of American aid.
Oh, okay.
And that is an agenda that did not go down well with American people. There was this, if you've had this phrase called wokeism, being woke.
Yes.
Yeah, there was this being woke agenda, that whole philosophy around it that had to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion, but which really was about advancing the rights of those so-called minority groups that Biden and his Democrats were fond of. So those weren't
the very open society.
Yes, the kind of very open society.
Yeah.
That wasn't going down well with the American people. That's why Biden was routed out and Trump came with an overwhelming majority. Then, of course, you'll also consider that the economy under Biden did not perform as well as it had in previous times.
True.
So the economy, with the tanking economy, with all these border crises, where so many immigrants were coming into the U.S., and it looked like the situation had become uncontainable. We had crises like child trafficking because of these porous U.S. borders. We had the drug crisis. There's a drug called fentanyl that has become a menace in America. It's a synthesized drug. It's a drug that is made in a lab someplace, and it is easy to distribute, but it is very addictive. It's very addictive and it is very potent, and overdoses happen and people die from fentanyl every year. So those are some of those problems that pushed Biden out and made Trump popular, because Trump rode on a platform of values, particularly Christian values. So Americans also felt that Biden was spending an inordinate amount of money on wars all over the world,
all over the place,
at the expense of deserving Americans themselves, at the expense of the internal whatever it used to take to work internal American programs for the benefit of Americans. So there was that thing, that feeling also that because Biden was sickly, he wasn't quite himself. And Kamala Harris now basically was an extension of Biden. So that vote, in a way, was a bit of a protest vote against what Biden stood for, against what Kamala stood for. And so that's basically
in other words, what I hear you saying right there is that the majority of the American people felt that the previous government, Biden's government, didn't stand for what they believed in.
Correct.
Their values.
Correct.
And whatever that particular tenure was propagating, and what it was pushing for was really contrary to what they really believed in.
Absolutely.
And what they held dear.
That's right.
So, okay, fine. I think that's very good, because I would hear those overtones. Remember, you are advantage. That is your area of expertise, and therefore you can drill right deep.
Right.
But you know, there were those overtones that really, actually, Kamala Harris was a stooge.
Correct.
Kind of a thing.
Correct.
Or was a president in the making for Biden.
Right.
And that even during the campaign rally, is that actually you could tell it's like she didn't have any philosophies of her own that she was trying to sell to other people.
Right.
She was just trying to ride on this wokeism of just because I'm black and all that.
That's right.
And those things that are side issues.
Right.
And that is what she was trying to really push down.
That's right.
And saying that, and it's like even the media used to pose as though they wanted just to push somebody so who is not 100% American per se, and try to tell people, I think you should be guilty if you don't vote this way. Then you're not really Americans. You're not thinking about mainstreaming. You're not thinking about all that. But anyway, I think there it is. So that's where we are. Yeah, but I think I'm glad to know that people can actually come out in large numbers for what they believe in.
Values.
Values.
America is founded on values.
Yes.
Particularly Christian doctrine. And that Trump has, in this second term, has embraced those values, particularly Christian doctrine, has really sat well with the majority of Americans, particularly whites. It has really sat down well with them.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why they voted for him overwhelmingly. Yeah.
You know, I keep wondering, just before as we discuss this, the media, you know, the media during the campaign period, the media, the American media was totally sold to, the Biden's
Right.
philosophy of what he stood for.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's the way media plays. Every time they lean on whoever is there. Or is it that they were bought? You know, at times you wonder, because you see, everybody would talk about so negatively about Trump and the fact that he can't win, the fact that all that and all that and all that. So at times you wonder, where is the media? I thought media was supposed to be neutral and just report facts.
On the face of it, media comes across as neutral, but when you dig deep,
Yes.
you discover that it never really is neutral.
Yes.
It is partisan.
It's partisan.
Yeah, media can be partisan. The saving grace for Trump is this dispensation that he is in, because this is the dispensation of alternative media, of social media.
Ah, beautiful.
We no longer rely on mainstream media alone.
Yes, yes.
Mainstream
yes,
media for decades has
Yeah.
been an authoritative voice.
Yeah.
In fact, it's not for nothing that it's called the fourth estate in government. I mean, the fourth estate of government, an
Yes.
official fourth estate.
Yes.
The first estate being, of course, the executive.
True.
The second being parliament.
Yes.
The third being the
The
judiciary.
judiciary.
And the unofficial fourth estate, the media.
media.
It is that powerful. It has always been that powerful. So in past times, media has determined to a large extent who makes president, not only in America,
Yeah.
but across the
Everywhere,
entire
indeed,
world.
yes,
When you
yeah.
get favorable press,
Yeah.
your ratings go up, and you're able to, have an edge over your competitor if you
Yes,
are running
true,
as a
true,
presidential
true,
candidate.
true, yes.
And that has been the situation that has obtained in this country as well.
Yeah.
But we are in a different dispensation where we have technology.
Yes.
And with technology, we have social media. Yeah. And we have several social media platforms that are every bit as authoritative, if not
Yes.
more authoritative,
Than the
than
mainstream
the
media.
mainstream media.
Yeah.
And Trump in his first time ignored social media.
Yes.
He never took it seriously. And he paid for it at the end of his second term because of at the end of his first term, because of the adverse publicity
True.
that was directed his way.
Yes.
Media dug up all manner of scandals,
know.
real or imagined.
Yes.
And basically tarred him with all those scandals so that he came out really dirty at the end of it and looked filthy and unacceptable.
True.
But in his second stab
Yeah.
at the presidency,
Yeah.
he has actually courted social media, taken on a lot of social media operatives under his ambit, and befriended them, and they
Yeah,
ran his agenda. I
yeah,
mean, when you
yeah.
look at the relationship that he has with Elon Musk,
Yes.
who is the owner of X, which formerly Twitter, you see that there is camaraderie between the two of them.
Yeah.
You see that X gave him a platform.
True.
When other social media denied him previously,
True, true, true.
Yeah, so then you see himself, you see what he started his own, I think, social media handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally different from the ones that we usually know. And he won the day.
I
Yeah,
can
he won the
imagine. I
day.
think
Yeah.
that tells you technology. You ignore it at your own peril.
Absolutely.
Because I've also seen him. I'm not so much into politics myself, but I've seen him being interviewed by very major influencers
Right.
globally.
Correct.
You know,
It's the
influencers.
it's the new dispensation,
Yeah.
even within this country. And I
Yeah.
keep on saying, one of the frustrations I have with our government is that they rely too much on mainstream media.
Yeah.
Or
They don't
even-
know news moved.
They don't know news moved. Social media breaks news
True.
as it is happening.
Do you know?
Uh-huh.
It is amazing
Yeah.
that in one of the, I just mentioned that I teach.
Yeah.
One of the units I teach is IT and society.
Yeah.
And you know, at times before stuff is reported in the mainstream media, we already know it.
That's right.
So at times even it's like the mainstream media is borrowing from social media.
Correct.
So I think one can only now, in a business,
Yeah.
in a politician,
Yes.
in a government.
That's right.
I think you ignore social media at your peril.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is powerful.
Amazing.
And that's one of the tools that Trump harnessed. And it is working for him.
It has paid well.
It has paid off
Wow.
very, very, very well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think
Yeah.
that kind of a background is good,
Yeah.
just to know just to lay the context
That's right.
of where we are and what we are saying. So now, let's now talk about these new executive orders. I don't think I've witnessed a president who comes to the stage and signs so many executive orders. In fact, when I saw that, I said, oh, okay, so how is the media going to treat that? Will they all become effective? But anyway, let's zero in on these executive orders, especially that directly will have an impact on Africa.
That's right.
You know, the developing world.
That's right.
So, what do you think about that?
Interesting. These orders are interesting. I think there are more than 200 or slightly over 200 or thereabouts. Interesting in the sense that, as you're rightly putting it, no other president has come in and sought to do so much within the first week of his tenure.
True.
Trump is different. But then again, you look at Trump and you realize that he's a businessman who's run a successful multi-billion-dollar enterprise, who has been bankrupted and who has risen from the ashes twice. So he knows what he's doing. He knows how to fix things. He knows. And he comes in as CEO and he takes charge and he begins to fix. So Trump, the way, background to Trump's orders, as like we've said, the economy in America has been tanking. And Trump now wants to fix it, wants to give it another boost of life in his second term. Okay. So a lot of those orders are tailored towards doing that. So when you look at them, for example, the freezing of aid, one of the statements that came out when he froze all aid across the world is that America will no longer just dole out money blindly. Imagine. And expect that there be no returns to American citizens. Anything that goes out from America must have some benefit to Americans themselves. True. Whether directly or indirectly. So that is the new way of looking at things. Then again, he wants to save money by doing away with some of those programs that Biden had. That were not really useful to American people. Okay. The LGBTQ rights and the likes, and the fact that Biden was making them a conditionality for disbursement of aid, particularly to African countries. You saw how he had a problem with Uganda, and I think Ugandan aid got frozen, a few other African countries. So Trump wants to do away with that. He says you can't use American money to push a nefarious agenda. If you have to use American money, it has to be for benefit a proper agenda. So then, of course, looking at programs like health, education.
Just comment about these very major aids that now seemingly will be frozen. He did say that he will discontinue or a cessation on funding for WHO. That also touches on USAID. That also touches on UNAIDS. You know, it is also touching on really health, TB, malaria, and all that. What's your comment on that? And what do you think then that means for Africa?
When it comes to
or third world countries,
when it comes to organizations like WHO, there is a feeling, I think, from Trump's quarters, that WHO has abused a lot of those resources that have been allocated to it. And Trump gives an example of the COVID-19 pandemic, where WHO had a real lead role in disbursement of aid, vaccines, and that sort of thing. Trump feels that that role was abused. There were vaccine mandates in places that came up and that were in contravention to rights and fundamental rights and liberties of people. Human rights. And as recently as last year, WHO was pushing for the signing of some accords, I think international accords, where they would have the right to declare a pandemic in a particular place and to institute emergency law. In certain jurisdictions, actually all over the world. So you see that's actually an abuse of one, of the mandate of WHO. Two, of the fundamental rights and liberties of people. Because if WHO comes to Kenya and says, we realize there's a pandemic here and we are instituting emergency law and we supersede now the laws of the land, that's an abuse of the process.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are some of the things that Trump was looking at. So unfortunately, there'll be programs like malaria, programs like AIDS
TB.
and TB that will be affected. But he says this is a temporary measure. It's not a permanent measure. It's temporary as they reevaluate to see how best to engage with recipient countries.
Okay.
For me, I see it also as an opportunity to fix our own programs, because some of our programs have been subject to the subjects of abuse. We've received American aid that has never gone to projects that it was intended to benefit the people that it was intended to.
Yes.
We've even heard of people who run these programs and whose administrative cost, the administrative cost of running the program
is higher
than the program itself, the implementation of the program itself, up to 65 or 70 or 80%, which negates then the essence of having that program.
Because ideally there should be a proportion, isn't it?
Should be a proportion.
Maybe 60-40, I'm not sure of the
fact,
figures.
even far less than that. 20% towards administrative costs and 80% disbursed to the recipients who deserve the aid. So when you look at things like that, I mean, it becomes a wake-up call, not only for Americans, but also for Africans. We begin to realize that we can do some things ourselves. We can partner, perhaps with America, perhaps even with India or other friendly countries who are producing a lot of these pharmaceuticals, vaccines, to create to create our own vaccines or to create our own pharmaceuticals.
I think so, yeah.
Uganda is doing that. I'm told Uganda has partnered with India, and they don't depend on American aid anymore for antiretrovirals for their people. They have partnered with a big pharmaceutical company in India, and they are producing that for their people.
Imagine.
Yeah. So this is a wake-up call.
It's a wake-up call.
It is.
And I think we have what it takes, because
we do.
Mr. Khafafa, I had during COVID time.
Yes.
I'm aware that actually even here in Kenya, some of the major health organizations had attempted to actually come up with vaccines, a locally made vaccine.
That's right.
But I think they were not given the leeway or whatever it is that they need to be able now to start using it.
That's right.
So it's like it was curtailed at some point by the higher global authorities.
That's right.
So meaning that then could be an opportunity for Africa now to emerge.
Right.
Because I think we have the brain.
We do.
We have the goodwill. We have very talented people here.
That's right.
Very hard-working researchers.
That's right.
And I believe, as you say, rightly say that Uganda has already maybe gotten away.
Correct.
I think it's an opportunity for Africa, but maybe you can just mention what is the general reaction of these executive orders among African leaders?
There's a bit of panic, naturally.
Yes.
When you are a recipient of aid,
for the longest,
when you build a lifestyle around aid,
and
it is curtailed overnight, it causes some amount of panic.
Some panic.
Yes. So there is panic.
Yes.
Yeah, there is panic. People are scrambling all over themselves to figure out what to do next. Yes. And the panic is not unjustified, because in some areas aid or lack thereof is an existential problem. It causes an existential crisis.
Yes.
Yeah. So like humanitarian aid, for instance.
Yes.
You withdraw humanitarian aid in places where famine has happened, in places where drought has taken place, or in places where flooding has happened. When you withdraw that,
then it affects.
It affects people. It's an existential crisis. Yeah. So it's not altogether without justification, but again, like we've said, it's a wake-up call.
It's a wake-up call.
Yeah. We need to learn how to stand on our own feet and work with minimal input from the outside.
So are we then saying that there should be no much cause for alarm? I think it is an opportunity for Africans to work together.
Africans have
Work together.
Yes, Africans have talked about working together for
the
the longest. We have
I think since I was
goals.
a young person.
That's right. We have goals.
Yes.
We have goals like Agenda 63.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an aspiration
True,
that we are working towards.
Yeah.
We have even goals at a basic level, like the Malabo Declaration that was made a few years ago.
Yes.
That sought to commit African governments, that sought to push African governments to commit a certain percentage of their budget to food security.
Food security, yes.
Why should Africa import food? Why should Africa be a recipient of food aid?
Yeah.
When Africa has 65% of the world's arable land.
Imagine.
Africa has...
Just hold that thought there.
Yeah,
My producer saying that we wrap up and go for a short break.
Okay.
Viewers, you can hear the engagement. Please just do not turn off that dial or even turn off the TV. I want you now to ask questions. We have an expert here who is telling us, what does this executive order mean for all of us? So if you have questions, you are wondering what to do or what next for Kenya, for your county, for everybody, including Mama Boga somewhere, this is the time to ask the question. Just keep it Elevate TV. We're coming back in a while. Thank you.
Explore a world of knowledge at Elevation Bookshop. Dive into topics like marriage, money, and spiritual growth with our vast reading materials. But that's not all. We are thrilled to introduce new additions like stationeries, notebooks, modeling clay, dictionaries, pencils, kamusi, and more. And calling all students, gear up for success with our back-to-school items, providing you with everything you need to excel in every subject. At Elevation Bookshop, we're here to assist you in finding the perfect resources for your journey. Do you have specific preferences or looking for something special? Visit us at Kenya Cinema Plaza, mezzanine floor, or contact us on 0748 902 225. Elevation Bookshop. Enrich your life. Are you ready to strengthen your faith and find practical guidance to your spiritual journey?
God is gonna do a spiritual quantum leap transfer.
It's time to equip yourself for a life of purpose and impact. Join us every Monday night for Equip, a dynamic 30-minute show filled with powerful sermons, timeless wisdom, and life-transforming truths.
Prosperity this year is our portion. May God give you divine connections. May He give you access this year. And may you prosper in whatever you do. Glory to God.
Whether you're seeking inspiration, answers, or a deep connection to God, Equip is here to guide and empower you. Make it your weekly spiritual recharge. Equip. Your faith, your journey, your transformation.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for staying tuned to this very great and very interesting conversation about the recent emerging issues at the policy level with Donald Trump's policy and his tenure as the 47th President of the United States. Thank you for those who are tuned in. I see Rahab Dabuki, thank you very much for staying tuned. You are saying well articulated. Thank you, Rahab. Mheshimiwa Karen Mwihaki is following this conversation. Jao Mukema is following all the way from Laikipia and saying being educated. Luis Jagero has tuned in and is learning from this conversation. Charles is saying that this is very enlightening. So viewers, stay tuned and share this page with your friends. You all know people that may be directly or indirectly affected by these changes at policy level. So share with them this conversation and let them ask questions. Let us also learn what is in place for us and what we can do as a country and as a people following these changes that are happening in the USA. So we continue now with our conversation. Mr. Khafafa, just before we went for the short break, we were talking about these policy changes. And we just had started mentioning about what that means for the African leaders. Just before we move to the next thing that we need to discuss, now I'm just wondering, and I've been wondering, if you go around the country, Kenya, for example, so that even as you speak into what needs to do, maybe with our politicians, with our Kenyan government, what we need to do following these new executive orders. But you see, you also observe that there are some specific areas, the rural areas, that largely depend on foreign aid. Even if it is to do whatever occupation they do, they rely heavily on foreign aid. So even as we think about Kenya as a country and what possibly the politicians need now to focus on, then speak also about what does this mean for those people at the county level. Yeah, but you can begin by talking about Kenya now as a country. What does this mean, these orders?
Interestingly enough, we are not very big a recipient of aid, American aid, direct aid, like other countries. I think we receive slightly under 1 billion US dollars in terms of direct aid.
Direct aid, yeah.
But any pronouncement that the American government makes affects Bretton Woods institutions. You know, IMF, World Bank, these are basically domiciled in the US.
Yes.
They are more or less American institutions. So that's where the rubber meets the road. When the president of the US sets his foreign policy, you see Bretton Woods institutions aligning accordingly. So if the president of the US says he's going to be very circumspect about the aid that he disburses, American money that he disburses out, you can be sure that Bretton Woods institutions will also follow suit, and they will be even more stringent than they are with their conditionalities for the disbursement of aid to we Kenyans. Yeah, so I see it affecting us even at a county level, because we've had gaps in our budget. We've had budget deficits that have been met by institutions like IMF and even the World Bank. They've helped to finance the budget, aspects of the budget.
True.
And as you know, the national budget, a percentage of the national budget goes down to county governments. County governments most county governments have not been very circumspect about the way they use their share of national revenue. You find that, again, like what we had talked about previously, most of that allocation goes towards administrative costs. I think 60, 70, 80% of whatever of their share of national revenue goes towards administrative costs. Very little goes towards development. And that negates the essence of devolution, because devolution was meant to bring development to the grassroots.
To the grassroots, yeah.
If you're spending 80%, 70-80% on administrative costs,
Yes, yes.
it negates the essence of devolution.
True.
So I see Trump's policies affecting counties in that way. Bretton Woods institutions will demand greater accountability for use of national resources that have been devolved, and there'll be a lot of reckoning with on the part of county governors, on the part of the people who are running programs at the county level. So
in other words, that at the county level, then we expect a lot of accountability.
We expect a lot of accountability.
The other day, Gensis were demanding accountability for everything.
That's right.
Now we are even going to another level.
That's right.
Where even not just Gen Zs, everybody now.
Correct.
We expect that money dispersed at the county level continues to be used for the right purpose.
Absolutely.
And I think we have a lot of funds in Kenya, really.
We do.
I mean, we can.
Why should one or two counties be outliers?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of Murang'a.
Yes.
Yeah. Why is Murang'a an outlier when it comes to use of devolved funds?
True.
You've seen they have proper healthcare programs.
Yeah.
They have proper education programs.
Imagine.
You look at schools in Murang'a running very well. You look at the way they have their what you call appropriation in aid.
In aid,
which is the revenue that they collect.
Yes,
themselves.
I've seen that.
And you look at the way they surpass their targets.
Imagine.
Then you compare with other counties around, and you wonder, what is it that makes Murang'a special? And what is it that makes these other counties that are not doing well lag behind? Yet, they have the same share of allocation of devolved funds. So if we, in fact, the Gen Zs should have started at county level. We all should have started at county level and held our county government.
Our MCAs.
Our MCAs.
Our governors.
Our governors, senators. We ought to have held them to account and pointed fingers and told them, look, why don't we have 47 Murang'as in this country? Because that would change everything about this country. Yeah, so I see that accountability cascading right down to the grassroots. Yeah.
Yes, and maybe even as I heard on television, the immediate former president saying that let's just use resources well.
Correct.
So now tell me, the other day I heard about, just in line with all that, I heard with the health sector, they are assuring people with HIV/AIDS that they'll continue to get their drugs.
Right.
And they said that they have stock for about 6 months.
That's right.
So what happens after 6 months, in your view? What's all that? Can you speak into that?
I think SHA, that is the Social Health Agency, Social Health Authority.
Yes.
Has very noble intentions, and these intentions, if properly executed, even negate the need to have external funding for a lot of our programs.
Okay.
SHA has 3 functions.
Yes.
There's the primary health care, then there's the Social Health Insurance Fund, which was what the old NHIF used to be. Then there's what you call Emergency and Chronic Illnesses Fund. So that last bit is now what should take care of HIV sufferers. Okay. Because HIV is a chronic sickness.
It's a chronic sickness.
It's lifelong. It's like cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, or one or two of other chronic, like heart ailment, you know.
Yes.
Treatments that don't have a finite cure.
Yes.
But that can be managed.
Yeah. So the
patient can have a relatively
longer
life.
Yeah.
Now, SHA, like I've said, if it's properly managed, when you use that component of the emergency treatment and chronic illnesses and palliative care, then you really don't need external funding. Because from SHA itself, from the contributions of Kenyans, assuming that they all contribute equitably and as they are supposed to, money going into a kitty, then we run these programs by ourselves.
Okay.
We don't need external funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear that. Yeah. So we can only then hope and pray that these discussions around SHA will be well streamlined and well managed so that everybody can benefit.
That's right.
Because at times the narrative you hear out there is that for some, a few say it's working,
Yeah.
others say it's not working.
Yeah.
And again, but what I hear most is that even where it is working, you still have to dig in your pocket and maybe pay more, especially things like dialysis and all that. Yeah.
When it works as it ought to,
It's, yeah.
SHA is
Something
an
we've
amazing
shipped.
program.
Oh, really?
I've had testimonials.
Yes.
Actually, from a number of people, which is not to say that SHA is perfect.
It's not.
Actually, for me, the rollout was a bit hasty. They did not take time to pilot the project as they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they missed out on a piloting
Yes.
project 101.
Which is very major in project management.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
So that they missed out.
Yeah.
But where it has worked, and when you hear the testimonials, I'll give
They
an
are
example.
good. Yeah.
There's a friend whose cousin got a road accident about 4 weeks ago. And I think he had a crushed collarbone or something like that needed to be, he needed emergency surgery. And he needed, I think, metal to be put to fix his collarbone. And my cousin was resigned now to the usual, harambes and fundraisers and that sort of thing. Then he was told, no.
Yeah.
This is a contributor to SHIF, that is Social Health Insurance Fund.
Yes.
We've seen his records are up to date.
Okay.
And we've given authorization for emergency treatment for him to be done. And the fellow was treated, the plate was fitted, and the guy is up and about.
Wow.
Then there's another one whose wife has a chronic illness, and it's multiple sclerosis.
Yes.
It's degenerative.
Yeah.
And because there's some experimental drug that she has been put on, his insurance refused to cover that. The insurance doesn't cover experimental drugs.
I know, yeah.
So the first year, just before SHA came in the first year, he had to pay 500,000 shillings for a sort of transfusion using that emergency drug.
Yes.
And the second year, I think he paid again another 500,000. But this year, when he went to pay, he was told, nope, she's a contributor.
Wow.
And she's covered under SHA. SHA.
Yeah.
The SHIF component is working.
Yes.
No, not SHIF, actually, that emergency treatment and palliative care and chronic diseases. That aspect of SHA is working and has kicked in and it has taken up the cost of that treatment. So where it works, it is amazing.
It is amazing.
When it works as it is intended.
Yes.
If we can, as parliamentarians have asked, if we can take the next 6 months to fix the issues.
To fix it.
Yeah.
Then it will work well for Kenya.
It will work very well for Kenyans.
Okay. So it's good for Kenyans to hear that, well, there's a lot of hope in SHA.
Yeah.
Possibly, maybe, we just give it a bit of time.
Yeah.
And possibly it will be streamlined and work well and really meet the need that it is intended.
Yeah, and the pressure is good. I mean, the pressure that Kenyans are putting on government is good.
Yes, it's good.
Telling them this is not working, we are having problems even with identification or authorization. That pressure is good. Now it's up to government.
It's up to government to deliver. We want performance.
We want performance.
Not stories.
Yes.
Thank you. Now let's shift to something else. One of the other major shift in foreign policy is to do with immigration.
Correct.
What's your take on this?
Well,
and what is the fate of Africans, immigrants in Kenya, especially those in the USA, especially those who don't have proper documentation?
No, as you've rightly put it, the issue at hand is those who don't have proper documentation. There are people who have gone to America the right way.
And they're okay.
Yeah. They are working. Those who got green cards and moved, settled with their families. Those who went to study, stayed on after their study, regularized their stay.
They're okay.
They're okay. They are working. And they're the ones who contribute quite a lot. To society back home in form of diaspora remittances.
True.
But the ones who have overstayed or who are out of status are the problem. They are the problem in America. Or the ones who have intentionally gone to America knowing that it's the land of opportunity.
And they stay underground.
And gone underground. Those are the problem. Yeah, they are not only a problem in America, they're also a problem here. Because what happens is, and as a society like America can be very unforgiving when you don't have a status.
True.
When you fall sick, for instance, because you don't have insurance because
True.
you don't have status.
Yeah, there you have to have
You
insurance.
have to
just
have
like
insurance.
SHA.
Just
Anyway.
like SHA.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are certain benefits that you can't get.
Yes.
So what happens? These are the people now who become
Problematic.
desperate, and they become problematic.
They become a burden.
They become a burden
Yes.
to the state, to the society. Some of them now end up engaged in illegal activities like drug peddling, because that's the easiest way to make
survive.
money, to survive. You know. Yeah. So and America has had that problem. I mean, we've had people, I think, coming in through the borders, especially Latinos. Not even so much immigrants from Africa, but Latinos. Yeah, who come in through the borders.
Through the borders,
and
yeah.
who
The
form
porous
gangs.
borders, yeah.
Who form gangs, and who now terrorize entire neighborhoods.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is a problem, and there are no two ways about it.
There are not two ways about it.
Yes, it has to be
because
fixed.
I saw somewhere on social media, some of the social media platforms, a list of the people who will be deported.
That's right.
I mean, a summary.
That's right.
By nation.
Correct.
And I saw quite a not a very big number for Kenya.
Kenyans, yes.
If it is true, if the
Yes.
source is authentic.
Yes.
But nevertheless, they are there.
They are there.
Yeah.
They are there. The other thing not about that immigration policy is the fact that, previously, as long as you're born in America, whether you're born to undocumented parents or not, you become an automatic citizen of America.
Yeah.
So Trump wants to end that right.
Wow.
Yeah, because the people have abused it. Yeah, people
Wow.
have gone there intentionally to have kids in America.
To have children.
There's a certain governor whose name I won't mention.
I heard
but
it.
who has gone actually all the way to the US.
And I said, really?
Yeah, to give birth so that her child can become an American citizen by birth, which is a shame. I mean,
it's a shame.
It would be a shame for just any ordinary Kenyan to play that sort of trick. But it is worse when it comes from a national
leader.
figure, a leader.
A national
because
leader.
that leader tells us that she does not believe in her own country.
That's it.
Yes.
Instead of fixing
Instead
what
of
is
fixing what
not
is here.
okay here.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have the opportunity.
And you have the opportunity to.
It's anyway.
It's a shame.
So now, tell me, so what does that then mean? Do you think it's gonna be more stringent getting a visa to go to America, or as long as you get it the right way? What do you think?
I think it has always been
for
stringent.
Students,
Yes,
for
it has always been
visitors,
stringent. You've even seen applications taking up to 6 months or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, but for deserving cases, anyone who deserves to go there, whether for study or for a visit, anyone who meets the requirements will always go. It will not stop Kenyans from going to America.
Okay.
Legitimately, or through legitimate means. It will not stop us.
Yeah.
Just as it won't really stop Kenyans also going for
wherever else.
Yes, wherever else.
Yes,
That's right. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay. I don't see it changing much when it comes to Kenyans.
Okay.
Most of the time, we go there legitimately. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
And Kenyans are obedient, really.
Kenyans are hardworking.
that some get tempted when they get there.
Yes.
And they want to stay underground and maybe just overstay their visa.
Most of the times, the ones who go there and overstay their visas are young people. I mean, when you get your son or daughter going to America at about 17, 18, when they're not properly mature, they get there and then they get culture shock, get excited, they forget about school, and then drop out of college and then lose their status at some point. And then because...
Then they go underground.
Yes, they go underground because there's that embarrassment of coming back.
Yeah.
Without anything.
Okay.
So for me, I would always encourage people who want to send their kids, say, to first places like America, to hold them for a couple of years, 2-3 years, until they are sufficiently mature.
And I think it's the same everywhere, even in Europe.
Exactly.
It's the same.
It is actually.
There's an age whereby one can go abroad,
right,
and you are not able to cope.
Right.
Because you see, every new culture is a shocker.
It's a shocker.
It's a shocker.
Right.
And if you don't have you don't have the fabric to withstand shock.
That's right.
Then either you are subdued by that shock.
Yes.
And by the time you turn around,
then
either you've lost it,
correct,
or something. Because I've had, of course, very many. I know quite a number of people who have come back either deported or really the parents have gone back to go and pick them up
That's right.
when they are totally really destroyed.
Right.
So I think, anyway, I think it is important to take a bit of time at times before you can send your children out there.
I agree.
They mature, as you see, maybe they can do their first degree here.
Right.
And by the time they're about 23, 24, 25,
Yes.
at least they are a bit mature.
I agree. Totally.
Yeah. So what is it that we are not talking about? And in terms of these foreign, these executive orders, who do you think is the winner here? Who is the loser? Is there anybody who is a winner and a loser, in your view?
America will definitely win because jobs, I mean, Trump's policies are always designed to create jobs for Americans.
Yes.
Or if not jobs for Americans, America's immediate neighbors like Mexico. You remember there's a time he even removed manufacturing from China of certain motor vehicle components.
True.
And brought it next door to Mexico because his reasoning was
Yes.
the Mexicans come to America because they don't have opportunities in their own home countries.
Yeah. So if we take this manufacturing there,
then you stop that influx of Mexicans into America. Then, of course, America benefits because you don't outsource your manufacturing to somebody who's so far away.
Yes.
You outsource it to somebody who's just next door.
Okay.
You then leave the opportunities that are there for American citizens to handle. So you in that manner, America benefits. There's that other policy, the one on fuel, on petroleum, where he says he's going to drill, you know. He's going to drill, and he says, drill, baby, drill, you know. That, in as much as environmentalists would look at it as a pollutant, it works for America because oil is what drives industry.
It drives industry
all over the world. And what Trump says is China, yes, talks about green energy, but in their backyard, they have a lot of fossil fuel investment and a lot of fossil fuel industries. So he says we can't compete with somebody who is taking shortcuts and I mean blindfolding us and doing the exact opposite of what you do. So to that end, America is going to benefit in terms of the surplus oil production that it's going to engage in. But we will benefit as a third world. Because when America comes in with they have what is called fracking, you know, shale oil, where they drill in unconventional ways. I think it's, in a nutshell, it's basically going to an oil well that is fairly dry, pumping in chemicals at high pressure, forcing whatever there is, reservoirs, wherever they are, to come up. And you get cheap oil that way, that fracking, that shale oil. So when America gets into that business of producing shale oil, there'll be an oversupply of that oil in the global market. The Arabs OPEC countries who control the oil supply, who restrict output and raise prices, will be forced to either compete, either produce at the same levels as America and thereby lower their prices, or just lower their prices to match American prices. So we benefit.
We all benefit.
We all benefit because it means we now buy our crude oil at a far lower price than we have been buying in the past.
Incidentally, I've heard that fuel prices are quite low and affordable in America.
Correct.
You know, they are very manageable.
That's right.
So if we all benefit, then it's a plus.
It's a big plus. I remember, I think it was during Trump's tenure when fuel prices, petroleum prices, dropped from a high of about $150 a barrel of Brent crude to a low of about 40-something.
Imagine.
And that was good. It was good for Kenya. It was good for the rest of the world. It is now at about 70, thereabout, 60, 70s. I think it oscillates between 70 and 90 at the peak. But if it can get back to 40s and 50s, it will be very good for Kenya and for the rest of the world.
So that means that then, at the end of the day, all these executive orders may just, they cause the African and third world countries to wake up.
Absolutely.
And to actually appreciate that we are quite endowed in Africa with arable land,
That's right.
minerals,
That's right.
and even a brilliant mind. I think
Yes.
Africans, we are very brilliant.
Our human resource is like no other.
It's like no
yes,
other.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we have brain
Think
drain.
about all
Yeah.
these innovations that
That's
are
right.
coming from Kenya and Africa.
That's right.
I think it's, if we now just stopped and knew, is that, you see, Plato once said that necessity is the mother of invention.
Correct.
So I think that is it's going to be very, very true
Yes.
and practical in Kenya, that
Right.
now that we don't have this aid,
Yes.
now that we can no longer stretch our hearts
Yes.
to receive handouts, now I have to get to
Think.
work.
Right.
I have to get my brain to work.
That's right.
I have to know where to go to get what I need.
That's right.
Just the same way at times, if God forbid, if you stopped working,
Yes.
or you lost your income,
Yes.
then I think you mourn for a short time, then you start thinking, engaging your mind.
Correct.
And at that point, then you can be able to come up with ideas.
Absolutely.
So I hear that from you, from what we are gathering from this discussion, is that we are all going to win if we are positive about it.
If we are positive about it, we are all going to win. For me, I would say Trump is not giving us fish anymore.
No.
He's teaching us. He's forcing us to learn how to fish.
Maybe we've
ourselves.
already learned, but we put down our nets.
Yes, our nets, and yeah, that's right.
And so now it's time to wash our nets and go back.
It's time to wash our nets,
And
go
go
back,
back, yes,
and get
and
into
fish.
the
The biggest
difficult
fish.
business of fishing. But difficult but rewarding
But
business
rewarding.
business of fishing.
I think that's something.
Yeah,
Because actually I think that's something.
right.
Because even at the county level,
Yes,
the county leaders must think now.
correct.
This is the revenue that I'm given by the
National government.
the national government.
Yes,
What must I do
that's right.
to ensure 1, 2, 3, 4 are in place and my
Yes.
people are not suffering?
Correct.
Then when we go down as families, if we have been relying on those, whatever, the trickle down,
Yes,
then, and there's a shift that has taken place, so what must then I do?
do correct.
Because you see, jobs are going to be affected.
Right.
There is quite a big proportion of people, especially around the cities, that
Yes.
depend on some of this employment. And
Yes.
they are directly
That's
employed
right.
by international development agencies
That's right.
and at their associations. So that means then they need to think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Opportunities are there because countries like Germany,
Yeah.
where countries like Germany are also following suit, and they're
Oh.
expelling, they are closing their doors to immigrants. But Germany has an aging population. It will still need to manufacture certain components for
Yes.
its industries and everything.
Yes.
Why not get those industries? Why not outsource those industries to Kenya?
To Kenya and Africa,
And
yeah.
Africa, where we have enough labor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Imagine
Yeah.
an hour is over.
Amazing.
And we've just scratched
Scratched
the
the surface,
surface. I
right.
think there's a lot we can discuss about.
Correct.
But right about now, I'd want you to ask you to just look at that camera
Yeah.
and just give your parting shot
Yeah.
on all this idea of executive orders.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody, Wanjiko somewhere, you
Yeah.
know, where all these, because all these questions, talk to them.
Yeah, Wanjiko and others listening, I will tell you that around every dark cloud is a silver lining. This may look like a bad edict coming from the US, but it really isn't. It's forcing us to think. It's forcing us now to utilize the potential that we have. Not all is lost. It will be rosy in a year or two.
Okay.
This is for our good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that is all we had tonight on the GG Report. Just ensure that next time, maybe next week, Friday same time, tune in on the GG Report. And who knows, we might have our guest again coming so that we can take this discussion further. That is all we had. Bye-bye for now. Thank you.